All right, welcome to WhoDooTV. It is a special day. It is a Saturday where we just got the launch of Ninjak versus the Valiant universe. It finally came out, and I know there are many happy Valiant fans. I'm geeking out, and I got a couple other people to geek out here with me. Some guys, some faces you may know. First on the mic is my man Jared. Hey, Jared.
What's up, guys? Here to talk about Ninjak, and I am super pumped about this.
Then we got our other guy. He's got the same haircut as me. It is Chris the Ball Moose.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And it's going to be a great week. Looking forward to the rest of it.
And, you know, as you guys may know what we're talking about, Ninjak versus the Valiant universe. It came out today, this morning, and on comicbook.com. It's there. It's awesome. Dude, some days we thought this day would never come. It's here. And, you know, to see the characters that we know and love all right here, right now. What do you guys think of it?
Yeah, I was really concerned that this was going to get scrapped. You know, there was we were getting no information. It was, you know, radio silence for so long. Even after they were sending out, you know, trailer, like it was like one trailer a day until the announcement or something like that, or until like a main trailer. So these little teasers a day, and then all of a sudden went quiet and nothing happened. And we tried to like search for these little pieces of information here and there, but it was so hard to find anything. And I was seriously concerned that this was just going to get thrown in the trash because creative differences, because of the, you know, the merger with DMG, with all these different variables going into this. But I'm actually pretty dang excited that we're actually here. So first episode out today, like, shoot, all this stuff has like culminated to this moment, and it's like, wow, like finally it's right here. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was tons and tons of hype built around this, and we waited a very long time. Overall, I was pleased with everything that went down, basically for what it was. This isn't Marvel. This isn't DC. It doesn't have Disney backing it. It's fan-built by the Bat and the Sun guys. And for what that was, fantastic. It was really good for what they could put together. I've got more things that I'll talk about a little later.
So, I mean, I want to get into kind of what Jared mentioned something, and I definitely think it was something worth mentioning, is the guys who kind of championed it, you know, with the things that happened with DMG, and the guys who left of Dinesh and Josh, who really pushed for this to happen. Like, dude, hats off to those guys. They really, really, really put it out there a lot. And to be not around when this is happening, I feel for the guys to not be there to get the rewards of this, of what they've done. I think it's great that they were the ones who actually, like I say, championed it. They put it out there, and I'm glad it's finally here. At times we thought it wasn't going to happen. I'm glad it was never scrapped. And yeah, I just hope that we keep getting some more. I mean, we are going to keep getting some more, but even after this, I hope that we're going to see some more Ninjak verses. Give it up to Bat and the Sun. They are the guys who put this out there. Valiant still made it happen. And then some amazing cast of characters and crew, a awesome lineup of people. And I have to be really happy that I have this now, the Ninjak versus poster with the couple scribbles of a couple other people that I got from Comics Dungeon, C4, C3, or Comics for, C4C3.org. Check those guys out. They did a fundraiser, and they Valiant donated this, and hey, a bid for it got it. So, but give it up for that. But let's get into the show, man. What did we like about this show? What did you guys dislike? I mean, I guess we could kind of start it off by the intro. We get to get a cool little idea of what may come down the road with a little, what I'm assuming is Deadside.
Yeah, it looks totally like Deadside. Very almost combination of Hindu looking or some other type of temple, but very dark, very ominous, very almost evil looking with the background sounds, the voices that you can hear when the screen goes black right after you see this. I thought that portion, well done, very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's absolutely the dead side here. Just the way it's showing up, it's very ominous. They didn't really give us a whole lot other than entering through a doorway. So that's kind of I'm curious to see where that goes. You know, perhaps it's connected to this MacGuffin device that's kind of setting off the whole chain of events here. But yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. A good little taste of what we can get. And I think I just want to say, like, it's awesome. They're trying to fit as much of the Valiant universe into this series as possible. And I mean, the dead side is very much a part of this. It's like so many stories are encircling the dead side. So like, bravo to them being able to fit this in.
I have to give it up to it because, you know, they're not origin stories of each character, right? We're not doing a movie. It's not an origin story of each character. It is hey, here's who this guy is. Here it is. Have an introduction. So yeah, having the dead side, knowing that we're going to see a little bit of Jack in this is going to be fantastic. I know they've already put credits out for that of who's playing who. And they actually, at the end of the credits in this, they do mention, I believe, Daniel Poirier or something like that is the guy's name, who is going to be playing Shadow Man. So that is freaking pretty great. Then we had a cool introduction scene when we get to meet Colin. And when Colin is there, he is with an agent, and he's being Colin for a little bit and then turns into getting attacked. You see in that screen, one of the I thought was pretty cool was the gunshot to the head. I wish it would have been a little bit more graphic, spent a little bit more time on it, but it was pretty cool.
You know, I was just going to bring that up myself. Her shot where she's fighting one of the ninjas, I guess you could say, and shoots the dude in the head. I like that. That was probably the first ooh that I gave out in excitement. It was to see her get a little badass on somebody. We've seen portions of this piece before, but I don't think we ever saw her do that, which was pretty boss. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so this whole scene was a really interesting introduction into who Colin King is, and you know, who he is as Ninjak. Because I mean, Chris talked about this a little bit. This is a fan-made series. This is something that has been put together. It's relatively low budget. You know, it's not what we're going to get out of, you know, Marvel and like what we're going to see next Friday with like Infinity Wars. That is a huge studio. We've got something being put out by a studio who's been making awesome videos for a number of years, just like on YouTube, and they're putting together this awesome series. That being said, like, they really had to fit in, you know, who these characters are without going super deep into the origin stories. So it was a little, I kind of felt like it was a little ham-handed, some of these things, the way that they, you know, wanted to show that, you know, Colin is a MI6 agent, he's Ninjak, and he's also this playboy. And so it's kind of these weird moments with his partner there. But again, yeah, I got to take a step back. You know, I can get into all the small details, these little things that were troubling and almost taking me out of the moment. But because it is low budget, and that's okay. And if you look at, I think if you look at what they had to work with this, it's a great moment. I mean, they were able to give us the information that they needed. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but for people who don't know who Ninjak is, they come in and they see, okay, he's a playboy. He likes to go drinking. He likes to, you know, have fun, but he's also like a top level operative and can kick serious butt. So, and this moment really showed that. But it also, the introduction to Roku and these other agents coming in, you know, it shows like who he's up against too, like the type of people that go after Ninjak and who he's responsible for taking out. I mean, it's serious business. So I think this whole scene was pretty good in that regard.
Yeah. I would say when you look at this video, that came out, I'll say I had more pros of this than I had cons, but I had probably two big cons that I really disliked. We have a live chat going on too. So if you guys want to participate in the live chat, make sure you are typing that in there. Danny Millhouse says, I really enjoyed it. All the actors portrayed the characters perfectly. And that's where I have a problem. Michael Rowe had a horrible, non-existent English accent. It was crap.
Well, I can explain that. I can explain that mainly because Dinesh explained it. Because that has been brought up many times before. And the way that he explained it is the way I'll simply say it. He is a worldly man. Yes, he's MI6. Yes, he's British. And he comes from upper society, but he's a world traveler. He is somebody that has to disguise himself multiple times over. So anybody who travels the world is going to lose their home accent. Perfect case in point is I have a high school friend who went and lived and married a guy in Australia. When I saw her at the 10-year anniversary, Australian accent through and through. She actually came back and lived in the States, and it took her a good 6 months to a year to break that. But she instinctively, because that's how the mind works, picked up and worked in that Australian accent. I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that Ninjak, who travels the world, loses portions of that British accent. And there was pieces, but losing for the majority that British accent, I think that can be explained.
Yeah, but he was sitting there talking with another person that had an English accent. But, I mean, I guess the part that bums me out is that's the voice I hear when I read it.
Yes, I agree. I would have liked to, and I agree with you. I'm just, trying to take the other side for debate's purposes. I agree. I would have liked to have Ninjak to have that British accent because he's British.
Yeah. And I mean, like when I read him and I believe when he's being written by a lot of writers that it is coming from a British point. I mean, I get that some people may lose it a little bit. But I mean, he's sitting there across the table from somebody who's British. And so that's kind of where I had a difficult time with that. And then, but yeah. And then we have David Edwards on here speaking as a British person. His accent was non-existent, but he's kind of grateful as he would have had a hard time listening to a shoddy English accent. So why not cast a Brit for it anyway? So.
And maybe that's what they decided is they have tried to put him in a British or an English accent, and it just didn't sound right. So maybe they said, you know what, we're going to go this way so that he can focus more on acting versus, trying to fake an English accent and sounding really, really bad.
Right. And then, so then we end up getting a little bit, I mean, I want to get your guys' thoughts on Roku. What did you guys think of Roku? Her jumping in there.
I thought with the pieces that we saw before, saw a lot more hair movement, and they toned that down because I think initial feedback that's like, wow, you can see the wires. It didn't look good. I like the fact that they used it sparingly because she didn't need to use it as a weapon. I also like the fact that she played up that there is some type of sexual tension, relationship gone bad between her and Colin. I thought that was fantastic. They only hinted at it, and somebody who sees that may think, wait a minute, was there or is there something there? And hopefully if they see that, they may want to learn more about that. I don't know, but it was something that I noticed. As everything else, I mean, sure, as Colin was introduced and he was introduced as Ninjak, so on and so forth, he was this billionaire. He is this MI6 playboy. He is all these things. And to try and figure out where she fits in the picture, it's almost like maybe a bit of a scorned lover feel, which is kind of cool. I'll take that. It's not exactly how the comic books played out, but in this instance, you get a little bit of that tension, and I thought that was played well. Beyond that, I'm not a fan of the eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. It seems to me to be a little low budget, and that was one of the small negatives that I found in it, was her eyes. It did kind of bug me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the eyes were a bit much. It's not necessarily how Roku was portrayed in the comic books. There was a lot of changes to Roku, which is totally fine. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different creative opportunities for creative license taken in this film. For one, we can talk about the American accent. Two, we could talk about the eyes. What I was really bummed about was we didn't get to see that ninja quality physicality that Roku actually has. You know, she can actually fight against Ninjak, and her hair is just like an added benefit to that. You know, it's just more. She was kind of introduced after both Colin and the girl he was with were contained, and she walks up, and really all we got to see from her was like her hair ability. So I was kind of bummed about that, but other than that, I think she definitely had the swagger. Came out as like a true villain, which was great. And I think that's what you really needed in this, because if he's going up against all the other heroes, you got to give him a compelling reason why. And I think having her come out as that kind of ruthless villain, like with some sort of plan in motion, and we don't know exactly what she wants yet. I think that's a great way to put that together.
Yeah, and then David Edwards on here says, you know, at least it was a step. Her hair was a step up from Medusa in Humans, which I totally 100% agree. The eyes, there was some portrayal of eyes in some of the books, but then there was some that wasn't. So it hasn't been really consistent across it. The one thing that was really weird. It was really cool. I think it could have been, you know, shown a little bit more, but the way the hair went through the assistant girl's head. His partner's head. You didn't get it happened so fast. You couldn't really see any details of it. And I was kind of hoping for some details of it. But nonetheless, she was awesome. This ends up leading to what I would say a funny looking scene with Michael Rowe doing some calisthenics in the elevator. This show did have some time spent in the elevator, but on his uniform, his costume, spot on.
Yeah, his costume, even down to the three circles that fall down there in the front lower portion of his uniform. Yeah, everything as far as that goes, really, really good. Really kind of sweet. And I do like the limbering up. I thought that was quite comedic. For him, just I know I'm going to have to fight, so let me get loosened up here, you know. Let me get all the alcohol out of my system type of thing.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Colin isn't all serious. I mean, there are definitely moments in there where he has fun with what he's doing, and so I think that was a really good moment, especially when, you know, stepping into this show, he's put in a really tough situation. So I don't know how many opportunities they were going to get to actually show that about Colin. So I thought that was a fun scene. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep. And our friends over at Get Valiant got to introduce Aaron, the Bat in the Sun, one of the main dudes, Bat in the Sun. He was talking about the costumes and the three circles down the center, and he talked about how, like in Samurai Times, taking the other ninjas' swords centerpiece was something that was kind of more of a trophy. And if you look at, like, if you really got some close-ups on it, you could actually see that these used to be, I forget what you call them on the sword, but a piece of another soldier's sword all along here. So more of trophies. So I thought that was kind of like a cool small thing you didn't really get to see. And then we get an interesting battle that happens, which they're in basically just outside of the elevators with MI6 going to work on Ninjak. Was a cool scene, a lot of action, lots of choreograph. I give that a lot. The thing was interesting, or I don't want to say interesting, but how it kept going back to Roku, and it looked like she was like on ecstasy or something. She was like just had this weird smile again and again. You know, just kind of kept going back to her, and she kept doing that like thing with her hand that she's doing there, and yeah, just this overly smile. Like it really could go without that, but it was cool.
I agree with you. That's funny. And the one thing from the Get Valiant crew, Eric and I were talking about was the mustard stain. It varied throughout the entire thing, and that was a distractor for me, because you kind of want those things, and I understand why they did it, because stains fade and they dry and they don't show up nearly as well. And you don't want people to say, "Oh, well, there was a stain there and now it's gone." You know, I know they're trying to show that, but yeah, he wipes it away and it's smeared away, and then all of a sudden it's crusted, and then it's dripping still. It was all over the place. It was just one of those things that, you know, it kind of bugged me a little bit, but it was one of those things where I just shook my head a little bit.
Yeah, I thought the fight was pretty good as well. It was fun. It was intense. I thought the mustard thing was kind of hilarious. I didn't notice that the stain was changing, but I did notice when they first introduced Neville, the dude went ham with mustard all over his sandwich. Like, it was everywhere. And I don't know if you guys caught that, but it cracked me up for some reason. Like, it was just, yeah. Anyways, moving on. I do want to say, though, it was really interesting. The interaction between Ninjak and Neville. And it looked like a professional relationship, which is great. It looked like exactly how they were talking. But in the context of this show, what got Roku to get Ninjak to do what she wanted was to show that Neville's wife and son were in danger. Like, she had them, and it was, she was able to collect them and show them, and that got Ninjak being like, man, I care about my friend, I care about his family, so I'm gonna like go and take care of this. And when he gets together with Neville, like, he just tells him, like, get out of my way. And maybe there was a detail I missed. Maybe for some reason she said, don't tell Neville or something like that. But I don't know. It wasn't like he could have said, dude, this is for your benefit. Like, help me out here or something like that. So it was kind of weird, kind of interesting. I don't know. What were you guys' thoughts on that part?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Is she didn't want him to say it, but it wasn't spoken in the actual show, so that made it kind of interesting. I do agree with you. I did catch that going like, why don't you tell him, like, somebody has your wife and kid, I'm helping you. But I think, Chris, you may know this. I think the comic book alludes to that.
Yes, yes and no. They allude to the fact that it's his wife and his kid, and they basically, in the comic, they come out and say it, but that's as far as it goes. The Roku Ninjak conversation, and then it's over. It's not spoken again. There's a little self-talk in the comic about why he's doing this and what he's got to do, and a little bit Neville, kind of like, Neville, you don't understand, blah 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 blah, self-talk stuff, and. But beyond that, not till much later does it even come back into being a part of the book, or a part of the books or this series.
Yeah, I think part of it is make sure you guys have your stuff on mute because it's coming on feedback. Make sure that or one of the things that was cool to see was that she had injected the sensory nanites, and so you could see that she's watching him. And that's one reason why they kept going back to her seeing him. Ultimately, this leads to my favorite part of the whole thing, is Livewire. Sierra Foster kicked some butt. Costume kicked butt. CG was kicked butt. This was freaking awesome here. And there's just her connection. I mean, I don't know in this universe if they have their love connection, but her comment of, my loyalty is more towards Unity than it is towards you. And then these two kind of, you see Colin kind of tuck tail and run because he knows that he's in trouble if he has to try to fight Livewire.
The only offensive movement that he makes in that whole scuffle is the defensive move so that he can basically bounce out. I like that. It kind of hinted a little bit at the fact that there could be a little bit of a relationship there, that my loyalty to Unity outweighs my loyalty to you, type of thing. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, he was totally tuck tail and run because he knew that you really didn't stand too much of a chance, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah. I liked, as soon as he saw the flickering lights and he was like, I know exactly what that means. Like, I thought that was really cool. And it took me a moment, and I knew Livewire was in this series, but for some reason it took me a moment, like, what's happening? And then she showed up and I was like, oh yeah, so pretty pumped about that. So that was great. Because she really kicked butt. I thought she was awesome. Sierra Foster did an amazing job. Like, holy crap. I think out of all the performances in this, I'd give her like the gold star on this one. It was so good. And she really, no matter what the script had to say or anything like that, she sold it, and just the moment of really kicking butt. I mean, Eric pointed this out. He said she blasted him out through that window, and that was freaking awesome. Like I totally agree. That was really, really good stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I thought that whole scene was just amazing, and I cannot wait to see more of Sarah Foster as Livewire.
And she totally gathered some Raiden on him and Mortal Kombated him. You're right. Blasted him Raiden style out the window. This was just such a cool scene. My favorite. This was my favorite, personal favorite scene of the whole entire show so far. Just all of it. Just to everything connected. Her pulling the electricity out of the lamps to blast him. That was a freaking phenomenal scene. I have to give it up to that. That was great. And then we kind of get this guy. He keeps getting a cell phone, and he can't. His cell phone won't ring, or it won't ring. He can't hear it because in the middle of a fight. And he kind of gets a knife through his face and a bullet through his head. And we see JDF as Bloodshot, and he looked pretty awesome. Looked pretty cool there.
Yeah, you could, if you remember what I think it was a bootleg of the fight scene with JDF. It showed the knife into the side of the face, not reverse in a puddle. It showed the headshot up close, not through a computer. So they tailored that a little bit, which I liked. I enjoyed it. I thought that was good. There was a little less of the fight, which I didn't like too much. I liked seeing JDF in the fight because, it's Bloodshot. You want as much Bloodshot as you can get because he's a badass. So, but still, all in all, sure, there was some campiness. The grenade guy, I'll kill us both. Dude, you just got shot in the head, and he got a knife in the side of the neck. He's not going to die. Figure that out. Your grenade's not going to do anything. But still, yes, that was a little campy, a little silly, but really, the regeneration of the hand, if I have to put up with a little bit of that campiness just for that scene, I'll do it. I'm down with it because that was cool.
The hand explosion was really cool, and there it is. Now you guys can see it there. It blows it all the way off. But yeah, Jared, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was awesome. I thought so I got to come at this looking at this in a way of this might be the first moment that some person is introduced to this Valiant universe, and I think they did a great job of kind of showing what Bloodshot can do, what he can survive, what he can get away with. And I really gotta, say, I thought that was awesome. Because I think you need a full movie to get really deep into who Bloodshot is as a person and what he's dealing with. And in a series like this, where Ninjak is going to go up against each of these guys trying to stop him, I don't think we have the time to dedicate to Bloodshot. And so we got to get him set up as this badass, this guy who really can't be stopped by, these escalating things that should have been completely lethal to a normal human being. I mean, we go from a knife to a gun to a grenade, and he survives all three of them. I think this is the way. I think this is the way to do it. And yeah, it was campy. He was with some some just normal thugs that you can pull off of the street, and enter into any other superhero show or movie or whatever, just the street guys. But I think it was the way. They were going to be disposable, and I think they did a really good job of just highlighting Bloodshot in that moment, regardless of how silly those guys were.
Yep. Dude, to me, he just killed it. I think Danny Milhouse says it, JDF set the bar for Vinny D. And it is a bar set. I like it. I wanted to see him shoot some guns though. Because Bloodshot's, guns and swords, and I wanted to see some of that, but that's personal. I enjoyed it. It was cool fight scenes, cool choreograph, very good fight choreographing there. And it was all around. That was solid. We're getting into another piece where we get to see two more of our fun-loving characters that are two of my favorite characters. I want to get them to have regular books back, but Archer and Armstrong. And Kevin Porter is Aram. And then we had, forget the guy's name, Alex Megel, who played a great Archer.
Man, to me, he stole the show. I loved his portion, the way he played Archer. That's the way I picture him. It's perfect. I think he did so well.
I got to come in and actually, this was the one performance I didn't like, was Archer. I thought the motions were right. I thought maybe, how he was standing there, but there was something in his delivery of his lines and his eyes that just didn't sell it for me. And I was kind of bummed about that because I love Archer and Armstrong. And I thought Archer, the guy who was playing Archer, kind of just was going in and delivering lines and moving on. Give a little bit more of a smile, a little bit more of the brightness of the eyes, and he got it. It was just almost there, and it just kind of fell flat for me. But Armstrong was awesome. I thought he was great. I thought they gave him a little bit of an accent of sorts, and he was sitting there telling the pretty ladies at the bar all about how a Caesar salad was invented, and he knows that because he knew Caesar. Like, it was great. It was exactly how I felt like when I was first reading Archer and Armstrong and getting introduced to him. And he's just this braggadocious drunkard, strong, doesn't really care what's going on, and I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
I dig the scene where the guy's getting pissed on.
Yes.
We needed to have some humor in it. I know it wasn't all the action and everything everybody kind of saw in the whole other part of the episode. It kind of slowed it down a little bit. Some people say they didn't like it. Some people say they did. But ultimately, I think it's pretty good. Danny Milhouse frowns upon the Irish accent in the bar. And then we get to see the Eternal Warrior, John Morrison, or Hennigan, whatever we want to call him, if he's in the WWE or not. Some people say they didn't like his costume, looked too cosplay. I think it looks pretty legit like Eternal Warriors that he does in the so I dug it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought he was awesome. We didn't get a whole lot about who he was and like what he's about, other than target practice. But I thought he kind of had a presence on the screen that I think Gilad would have. It felt like we were looking at Gilad, and that was pretty cool. And he's also, he seemed to have sort of a differing loyalty. When he was in the conversation with Livewire, he said, I won't fight a friend. And Livewire had a bit more of a duty toward, what Unity was about. But she kind of had to convince him. And then he was a little bit more in, like, man, maybe something is screwed up. So,
when I looked at Eternal Warrior, he's a man at a time. He doesn't belong with us. He belongs in history. So everything that he does looks off. Using a bow and arrow. Who does that nowadays? I mean, not even a compound bow, just a regular bow and arrow.
Archer.
Everything that he has, his armor, everything all the way down. I think it would be hard to not make that look cosplay-y, to not look a little campy. But for the character itself, the only takeaway that I saw that bugged me was the third scratch. The scratches on the face bugged me a little bit. They were off a little bit. Maybe that third one that came across, you only saw it right up here in his eyebrow.
I agree. If you look at it right here, you barely can see it here.
Yeah. And I would have liked to see them, kind of placed the way they are. Get that third one where you see the second one. And again, this is fan-based. It's not going to be perfect. All in all, though, I liked his character. I liked the way he was projected. I liked the things that he did. Sure, his uniform looked a little campy, but there's no way around that. There's no way to not make that look cosplay-like. There just isn't.
Yeah, you put Batista in it, no, which is hopefully happening. But no, there was little things in there, like when Livewire, you know what I mean? Like, you're slowing down in your old age, like little hints of him being old, because he literally doesn't look old, but just her making those statements, his loyalty. There were some really cool pieces to get us introduced to who he is. And then I want to say, lastly, I kind of liked the way this one was portrayed, but Derek Thieler as Exo Manowar, as Arik, getting the news from Sean Hara and throwing it on.
Yeah, that's right.
It was very cool. I was hoping to see a little more as far as it going on to his body. But for what it was, really cool. We got to see at least the helmet go on, and we got to see him fly away. That was cool. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, we didn't get a whole lot of him, but I mean, it was very much Arik. Arik is a guy who kind of is on his own a bit, especially in the current series. He seems to be more internally driven, discussions within his own mind, and I thought it was pretty good. He's off on his own. He's another character who's out of his own time, and so he's out there, just building a fire. And Shanhara is letting him know what's going on, and we just get this awesome moment. And I think it's a great way to end it. It's especially like for people who don't know anything about Valiant, they're gonna be like, "Who the heck is this guy?" Like, I thought it was a great teaser for what's to come with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of a performance within dialogue and lines. But I thought overall he sold it as like, if Arik is just doing his thing and relaxing, like, yeah, he's just going to be off on his own and doing his thing as who he is. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I dug it. I think, Derek Thieler, played it pretty well, and that is very Arik to be on his own. I like the portrayal of the ball, Shanhara ball, to throw that in there. That was kind of cool how they played that out. I do wish that would have liked to have seen the suit wrap around him, like you said, Chris, the way it's shown in many of the comics. Do like the way it still played out really well, still looked really solid. He looks great as it. Was very quiet moment. This whole episode is really getting the band together type of thing. Like, here's the introductions. I can't wait to see what's going on tomorrow. Can't wait to see what's going on Monday. Can't wait to see what's going on Tuesday.
Is that we're going to be able to digest this, and we're going to watch it. I mean, I don't know how many times you guys watched it. I've watched it 4 times. And we're going to be able to pick it apart, digest it, and then move on. We don't have to wait an entire month or a week to pick up on the next episode. It's hitting tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat in the sun.
Same bat in the sun.
I agree, but the want in me, the I want it now. But I think it's great.
It's not far. It's great because right now on the Facebook page for Valiant fans, there's a lot of chatter going on. Whether you liked it, where you didn't, you broke it down. There's a couple of polls out there, and there's some good feedback. There's some negative feedback. Some people, some people didn't really care for it, and they kind of tell you why, and it's okay. But I think if people understand that, it is fan based, it is fan built on a budget. I think probably a total budget which is probably equal to less than what a day-long budget, 1 day budget of a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
that's probably what it equates to. So I think for what they are, who Valiant is at this current point in time, and everything included, they did really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very entertained. I look forward to it, counting it down. I'm talking to a couple of guys and they said, wish there was a clock that you could set up. And I'm sure there probably is a clock that'll count it down so an alarm goes off when you can next watch the next Ninjak versus the Valiant universe.
I'm very much looking forward to this week. I think this is going to be a really fun moment. And I'm definitely looking at this more as this is almost like the appetite. This is the first course of what we're going to be seeing in this visual media, video stuff coming out, movies and all that stuff of the Valiant universe. This is the first we're getting, and this is just the first course. I mean, and so I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. I mean, if something goes crazy and I don't know, like, I don't know what it could be. If they're just out here like killing off characters for no reason, like that would be kind of a bummer, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think we're going to get anything that's truly outside of, what these characters are about. And I think it's just going to be fun. And that's really what I'm excited about. I want to, earlier in the chat, Danny Millhouse, he said something, and I really want to highlight that. In the trailers, we got a lot of the footage from this first episode.
Yes.
That means there's a bunch of episodes coming out where we haven't seen anything yet.
I don't know a dang thing about it, which is great. I was going to bring that up as well, Jared. We've seen a lot of this just in bits and pieces. but we don't know what's going to come tomorrow, minus what the books kind of tell us. But it may not be spot on either. There may be more. There are bits and pieces in this episode that weren't in the book at all. So, and there's 5 more versus just a couple of books. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very interesting.
Hoosh, how you feeling?
I liked it. Like, again, coming all around. I'm excited for this week to see what happens. I do think it was great that we got to see a lot of the characters, that we all kind of got to, you know what I mean? It was an introduction to all of them. We didn't get to see Jack yet. We'll see Jack down the road. It is good. I mean, for what the budget is, for what was put together, it was a great piece. It was a lot longer. I know Jared messaged me and it kind of freaked me out. He goes, 22 minutes. And I thought he meant 22 minutes till the show started, but he was watching the video and he's like, whoa, I thought it was only gonna be like 10 or 15. And it was 22 minutes. So it was a lot longer than expected. I mean, that's an episode on a regular TV show, 22 minutes with commercials, right? So it was a lot longer than I expected. I think it will end up totaling, be like, an hour long total when it's all said and done, at least.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, take off credits and whatnot. I know Eric's on the chat. They had, like I say, they had Aaron over on Get Valiant Thursday night, and they talked about how it's going to be similar to a one of the animated series, like a Marvel animated series. So it's gonna, it's not gonna come in and be this origin story, but it's gonna come in and be a full thing. Eric said it's 78 minutes total. So that's really awesome. And so, yeah, and it's great that we finally got it. It's happening. We got, outside of Michael Rowe's accent, that's the only thing that held me up, really, was Michael Rowe's accent. Outside of that, and I expected a lot because he was the bigger name actor in the whole series. That was, people knew his name from being on other series. And then one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed here, when we had the introduction credits here, we actually got produced by, right? We have Aaron and Sean on here. And 2 names were not there, but they were left at the end credits, which I don't know. Dinesh and Josh did a lot to get that going, and I believe that they, clearly produced by in the end credits, but I don't know why they were removed from the beginning credits. And I hope that, I hope it's nothing more political, that it was just something, but I do, I know those guys pushed out a lot of it. If it wasn't for Josh going up to Aaron to get things rolling with Bat in the Sun, might not have happened. It was Dinesh's baby. He was behind a lot of it. So I, that's one of my questions as far as like the Valiant political side of it. If there was anything to do with that, my wishful thinking would be, I hope not, but having them cut out in the first scene or the first credit is, questionable. Yeah.
On a side note though, and talking about credits as well, and I'll ask Jared because I'm pretty certain John, who's, Sonic Dan, but Jared, do you know who Sonic Dan is?
I do not.
Dan Moeller, big art guy when it comes to Valiant. He sells a lot of the art. He got a little cameo in there.
Yeah, is that right?
You got a Valiant fan who got a cameo in the first episode.
Where is he?
Well, okay, so I'm assuming that everybody has seen the first episode. When MI6, when basically right before Capshaw gets introduced, Colonel Capshaw, the girl, she was the lady in the whole spandex black outfit with a machine gun. When they came up, he's the blonde guy that walks halfway across and then gets directed, and he heads back kind of towards the camera. He's maybe about 2 or 3 seconds, but it's very cool that you have somebody who is a massive Valiant fan who gets to be a part of this. I think that's really, really cool. And also, in some of the end credits, Ed from and now the comic book store down in L.A. completely slipped my mind. But his comic book store hosts Bat in the Sun all the time. And so for him to be mentioned in the credits for special thanks, I thought that was kind of cool too. But
that's really cool.
I thought were a lot of fun. Maybe I don't think there's a lot of people out there who may know exactly who Sonic Dan looks like, but you'll see him. Blonde-haired guy. He's kind of walking right in the middle of the screen, and then boop, bounces out. I think he's probably there for about 2, maybe 3 seconds, which is really kind of cool. He's a star now. We know a star, guys.
That's really cool. I mean, that Valiant has constantly been so fan focused, and I think that is such a great choice to do, to actually bring some people in who are true fans and who are so engaged with the community. What a great detail.
Right, and Ed, that Collector's Paradise is Ed's.
Collector's Paradise. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it is cool that they would be willing to do that. Yeah, seconding what you or tripling what you two said already. I dig it. I dig that they have it out there. I look forward to the next one, man. Ultimately, a good start. Really good start to something that's supposed to be the beginning of a lot more to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying just Ninjak versus. Hopefully this is the linchpin or the domino, the first domino to fall to get stuff like Vin Diesel going, to hopefully get some new people introduced to the books. And if you are new to Valiant and you got questions about this, put those in the comments. There's people here all over that will answer those questions. We may even put them up on our live talk and put up those questions there as well. And also check out, Get Valiant's Facebook page, our Facebook page, Valiant Comic Fans Facebook page. Check out a bunch of things. Valiant forums. You're gonna get a lot of stuff. I think Valiant is a great fan community. If you have questions, people are there to answer it for you. And get going, because there's a lot getting going right now with Valiant. Just got Shadow Man 1, Shadow Man 2's out next week. Lots to be in. It's a good time to be a Valiant fan, as far as all of this multiple media is going to be coming at you in the near future. So that's what I got.
And I agree.
And I want to thank everybody for jumping on. Jared, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Busy Saturday. And then the Moose, thank you for hitting it up too. And everybody else, if you like it, hit like. Looks like one person does like it and hit us a thumbs down, but maybe they didn't agree with the English accent. But we appreciate you guys jumping on, watching nonetheless. Thank you guys, and we want you guys to stay valiant. And